opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Sorry about that. Thought I was up. Thank you. Thank you, technology. Hello, everybody. Welcome inside to a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. I'm going to go ahead and put them up in the top right-hand corner. Boop. So you know where to go if you are in the market for a newer used vehicle. Make sure to go on and check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town up there. They will go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we can't wait to continue our partnership and everything good going on with Greenwood Chevrolet. We thank them for their sponsorship of the show and everything that we're able to do at YSN. We couldn't do it without them, and we want to thank them every single day. Got a good show for you today. We're going to recap all the action from last night first and foremost, like we do every day on Running Point. Let's pop in the scoreboard, which is presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. This scoreboard is a great tool for the YSN fans, whether you are at one of our games or you're watching one of our broadcasts. You don't want to look away for too long. The YSN scoreboard is a great tool to go and get live updated scoreboards. Our team behind the scenes works very hard to make sure that the games that we are, especially the games we are broadcasting, get live updated, and we get this done as fast as possible so you don't have to wait until midnight to get your final scores or live scores during the games. So this is a scoreboard brought to you by, once again, Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. ysnlive.com/scores is where you find it. As we go along and we start the scoreboard recap today, we start with Champion, who got the big win over Garfield, 58-20. The Flashes continue to roll in this season. This is a defending district champion, Garfield, who really got the better of Champion last year in 2 games. Remember, 2 years ago, tight, they split the regular season, and then Garfield won the district championship over Champion. So I think there's still a rivalry going on between Garfield and Champion. I thought you saw this pretty well yesterday. Champion had no troubles getting going for this game. Plenty of scoring to talk about when you're talking about Champion and Garfield. As we look at the stats from this one, and for Champion, they were led by Bella Meyer with 18 points. That's no shocker. She's been leading him pretty much all season. Kennedy Caldwell, another impressive performance, 14 points for her. We saw her a lot in the volleyball season. Didn't know we were going to get this much of a helping of her in basketball, but Kennedy Caldwell having a great year, 14 points for her. She hit 2 threes in the first quarter. Champion was able to hit 5 threes in the first quarter alone. Scored 26 points in the frame. This was their game from the jump. Some other scores for the Flashes: 8 points for Sam Strock, and they had 6 points from Addie Warzela as well. And then a bunch of other people scored. You saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other people scored outside of those ones I mentioned. So a lot of scoring done for Champion, 58-20. They get the win. Garfield was led by Mandy Cardinal with 15 points, by the way. She's trying to put the team on her back. She's trying to keep everybody positive, but Garfield right now is struggling to score outside of her. She's averaging 17 a game, but Garfield just needs to find supplementary scorers. She can't score, 35 every game. So Garfield definitely needs to find a way to help her out on offense. Right now it is a grind, but a lot of young players, and Coach Gilbert is definitely someone that I have plenty of faith in as well. So I think Garfield could be um, chipping away at getting better. Tough against a team like Champion to play them at this point in the season. Niles, they get the win over Lakeview 56-52, a very competitive game inside the NE8. The Dragons pull it out though and get the W. Girard defense all over South Range. They get the win in this one 34-19. The final score there. When you look at the defense for Girard holding a team, I don't care who you're playing, holding them to 19. That's always tough to do. South Range's defense continues playing well. Continues to, you should be in a game if you're giving up 34. Their offense, they need to find ways to score. That's just, there's no other way to put it. If South Range wants to make a dent in the NE8, they gotta find people that are willing to go and be aggressive on offense, because their defense is actually playing pretty dang well. And at the end of the season, I guarantee they're probably going to be a defense that averages less than 45 points per game, which is what you want. In girls basketball, if you can hold a team on average below 45 and a lot of times below 40, you should be in a lot of games. South Range was in this for a little bit. Girard started to pull away, and Girard's defense up for the task in this kind of defensive grudge match. Southern, how about Southern going up and getting the win over United at home? This is a big win for Southern. They got the loss to Columbiana in the game before this, and it was one where they didn't look great. Columbiana was able to kind of take care of them. So they needed this win really bad. They needed to get a win in the EOAC, and they need to get one against one of the top tier teams. And now United has a loss, so Southern has a real chance in the EOAC now. They're going to play Columbiana again later on in the season. They're going to play United again, and United still has to play Columbiana. So you got to think right now Southern has the upper hand over whoever loses that Columbiana United game. And then Southern has an opportunity, at least, if those two split, to sweep the rest of the season and still win the EOAC. If they would have dropped this game, and both of those teams would have been undefeated heading into their matchup with each other later on in the season, that would have been tough sledding, because then Southern would have had to root for those two to split. They both have one loss, and then they would have had to get a win over both of them just to tie with two losses later on in the season. So getting this win is actually mathematically crucial for Southern, because, like I said, now they have one loss. Columbiana has none. United has one loss in the league. And we're talking about the league. So now when United and Columbiana play each other, that's going to automatically be either one loss for Columbiana, which would tie them with Southern, or two losses for United, which would put Southern ahead of them. And then, of course, Southern would have to play Columbiana and United again. So if they beat Columbiana again, boom, they're automatically ahead of Columbiana, or they're tied with them if Columbiana wins that game against United. And then the loser of that Columbiana United game, if United comes and gets the split, boom, all of a sudden you have Columbiana and United both with two losses, Southern with one. And then if Southern just sweeps out the rest and gets a win over the Eagles in their second matchup, you got an EOAC champion. It's a lot easier now that they have this win over United for Southern to get the league. Ashley Schroed's 27 points last night, I should say, against United. She is 4 points away, everybody, 4 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer at Southern Local. And that's going to be lined up with their next matchup against East Palestine on the road. I know she'd love to do it at home. Doesn't always work out that way. She's probably going to do it on the road because I very highly doubt she's not going to get 4 points in a game. That would be her career low by far. So we're lining up to crown Ashley Schroeder as the all-time leading scorer in Southern local basketball history. 4 points away, and the Indians will try to do that, try to get the win against a very hot East Palestine team, who we'll talk about a little bit later, but they have 4 wins in a row. We go on to the next one. Brookfield gets their win over Liberty, 44-14. Ooh, defense for Brookfield. Never letting up there. 44-14, a big win for the Warriors. How about Austintown Fitch playing a very good St. Joe's Academy, trying to test themselves. The Falcons were on a 6-game winning streak going into this game, but it finally ends. The Jaguars of St. Joe's beat Austintown Fitch 57-44. The final score there. For those of you that are familiar with this St. Joe's program, remember 2 years ago when Hoban had Lene Riley and they were just on fire. They were scoring 60, 70 points per game. You remember that same Hoban team went to South Range with Izzy Lamparty on the team and beat the Raiders in overtime and an absolute offensive, thriller. This St. Joe's Academy beat that Hoban team out of the regional. So a very good St. Joe's team. I know that was 2 years ago, but just so people are familiar with that name, if you're not. That's a very good St. Joe's team. They end the Fitch winning streak. Fitch still trying to get a little bit healthy. They still have a couple of players that they can get back in their roster in less than a week, I think, now, as we're counting down the return of some of those players. So Fitch fighting well, and there's still everything in front of them. I think they're going to be a absolute thorn in the side of the AAC this year. Very tough AAC with Canfield and Boardman playing well and Howland playing well. That AAC getting more and more interesting as the year goes on. We had a fun one in the field house last night. Struthers was down by 1 after 3 quarters of play, but they held East to just 6 fourth quarter points. Then the Struthers was able to score 11. They get the win 33-29. The final score there. Caitlin Kimball had the leading scoring cape as she went for 11 points, a couple of 3-pointers late in the game, and the Wildcats get the 4-point victory, comeback victory over Youngstown East. Another wild one between Western Reserve and Springfield. The Blue Devils came in with upset on the mind, and they almost had it, everybody. They went down 6-0 quick. All right, so first quarter starts. Springfield hits 2 threes off the jump from Ava Vecchione and Mariana Toscano. They're up 6-0. Looks like, okay, Tigers are going to take control of this one. From that point on until the fourth quarter, the Tigers never let. Western Reserve went on a 16-4 run in the next 20 points. They were leading at halftime by 3. Excuse me. They were leading after 3 quarters of play by 6, 35-29. But Springfield just would not give up. Their defense turned up the pressure. They got some big plays from their big players down the stretch. Mariana Toscano made a great steal in transition and pushed it up the floor. Didn't get the first shot, but then got the rebound and put back. And then you saw, Kerrigan Mullen hit a 3 down the stretch. And then, of course, Tamika Brungard, who was defended well all night by Lisa Eichert. I actually made sure to see Lisa after the game and just tell her, you played awesome defense, because what she was able to do against Brungard on the defensive level was very impressive. And doing it without fouling out or without even getting into 4 foul troubles. I think she finished the game with 3 personal fouls. The ability to get physical and make your presence felt in the post without drawing those foul calls. Very impressive from Lisa Eichert. She played amazing defense. And it was all for naught because at the end of the game, Brungard just found a way to score some points. She's a good enough player that even if you play really, really good defense against her, she is going to find her way to score. It's just going to happen. She has great post moves, a little turnaround jumper that she can hit. This one was one where I think, if I remember right, all the plays kind of washed together. But I think this one was kind of after a chaotic loose ball situation. Um, she found some room on the baseline, was able to get one of the easier shots that she was, able to get all night. That put Springfield in the lead, 42-41. And then they had a defensive stand about 15 seconds where Western Reserve just couldn't really do much. They couldn't get a shot off. So Springfield, they avoid the upset. They get the win, 42-41 over Western Reserve. And the Tigers stay undefeated in the MVAC. And they finally flipped the script on the one possession games. I was talking to John Matisse after the game and talked about how relieved he was just to win one of these games. It felt like the first couple close games they played, they weren't able to pull out the victory, make those game-winning plays down the stretch. But this time around, they were able to do it. They lost to Poland in overtime by 1 point. They lost to Crestview by 2 points. This was another one-possession game. The Tigers flipped the script a little bit, get the win in this one. And I think John Matisse was pretty happy to say that. Brungard finished with 13 for the Tigers. Ava Vecchione in double figures as well with 11. Toscano had 8. So did Kerrigan Mullins. So plenty of balanced scoring for the Tigers. Western Reserve offense was led by Isabella Morrow, who did foul out of the game with about 2 minutes left. Olivia Hughes had a good offensive performance as well. And so did Quincy Miller, honestly. I was really impressed with Quincy Miller and her ability to score. One of the things that Steve Miller told me after the game is he just wants a little bit more composure from a young basketball team. And, being in a situation like this early on in the season, if that pays dividends, if that says, this is what it takes to win in these kind of close games, and if Coach Miller has to trade this loss for a couple of close wins down the stretch, or even a couple of close wins in tournament time where they can draw back and say, hey, remember when we were at Springfield and we had this game, we had kind of control of it, and we just didn't stay composed in the fourth quarter, had some silly turnovers that kind of turned the tide. Let's just learn from that. And if they have to trade this loss against Springfield on the road for a couple of wins down the future, especially in one possession games, I think Coach Miller would do it in a heartbeat. And I think Western Reserve is going to be a very, very decent basketball team. This MVAC, with the way Western Reserve is playing, kind of the surprise, because I think everyone came into the year saying, okay, it's Springfield, Middle Ridge. Everyone knew they were going to be good with what they were able to end the season with last year, and the fact that they did not lose hardly any seniors. This Olivia Booth was the only consistent varsity member that they lost last year. So, they brought back Gianna Gilbert. They brought back Lily Marilillo. They brought back Ava Hewlett. Like, all those three, those are their big three. Those are their three-headed monster. And now they've added Sullivan Sandy to the mix as well, who is also scoring in double figures. So Middle Ridge, everyone kind of knew they were going to be good. Springfield obviously was near the top. And then everyone was like, okay, maybe Western Reserve, but, with no Brooke Shantz, what are they going to look like offensively? Maybe McDonald, because they can play good defense and they're well coached. And then the way it's shaping up right now, Western Reserve's going to be in the hunt, but it's still looking like Springfield and Middle Ridge. As we'll get to the Rams a little bit later, you can see them on the scoreboard down there. But I think Western Reserve is good enough to beat either one of those teams if they have an off night, if they don't play their best. So Western Reserve looking like a sneaky basketball team in that scarlet tier of the MVAC. I think Coach Matisse also made a good point. This is the last thing I'll say about this game. The program knows how to win, and I think people forget about that when you're talking about programs that maybe lost a lot of important players, but have had consistent success in the recent history. Teams know how to win. Like, winning culture doesn't go away when seniors graduate. And Western Reserve is a team that knows how to win. They are used to winning, and that's why they're able to play like this against big teams, because nothing scares them. They're ready to win. They expect to win every game they play. You can't coach it. Well, you can, but you can't really, once it's established, it's hard to get rid of that winning mindset. So Western Reserve is there. They're in the thick of it, and tough one to swallow, of course, for Western Reserve. But they have another matchup with Springfield ahead. They have Middle Ridge still twice. So everything's still in front of the Blue Devils, who look very impressive so far. We'll go on to the EOAC, where East Palestine was able to get the win over Latonia, 4 in a row for the Bulldogs. They win 40-10. That was the final score. And the defense holding a team to 10 points is always awesome. But then let's look at the stats for the Bulldogs and what they were able to do real quick. Let's get the stat sheet out. All right, got it. Let's look at the East Palestine stats. They were led by Lila Martin with 12 points on the day, and then Gabby Andre had 9, and then after them, it was Olivia Magnus with 6. The big stat of the day, East Palestine went to the line 32 times. That's a lot of free throws they were able to get up. And you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different players got to the line at least once. They were led by Lila Martin, who got there 6 times. No, I'm sorry, they were led by Gabby Andre, who got there 8 times. She was 5 for 8 on the day as free throws go. But her and Lila Martin both got to the free throw line consistently. The Bulldogs, if they continue to play like that, where they're driving and they're a good team off the dribble, driving, getting contact, going to the line, that's the easiest way to even out a game, right? If a team's playing really good defense, but you're getting to the free throw line, that's the easiest way to get into a competitive matchup, because you're scoring without the clock moving, and they're also free throws, so they're not defended. So if you can knock them down, now, admittedly that East Palestine did not shoot well as a team last night from the free throw line. In fact, they were under 50%, 15 for 32. So they have to get that better if they're going to get to the line that much. But you got to think, man, if they hit, I mean, no one's going to hit all of them, but if they go 26 of 32, all of a sudden that score goes to 51-10. Adding points to the free throw line. If East Palestine continues to play this kind of offense where they're running into the paint and they're drawing contact, getting to the line as much as they are, and they start hitting their free throws, that's a dangerous team, because there's no way to guard that. You can't guard free throws. You just have to play clean defense. And sometimes when a team is so good at driving down the lane and not just trying to look for shots and shots and shots, they have a couple of jump shooters, but I think all of their guards would rather drive than shoot. So when you have a couple of guards, and Martin and Andre, that love to attack, they have the strength to finish through contact. They're not afraid of contact at all. You get a pretty dangerous basketball team that can sneak up on you especially if you have one of those referee crews that likes to call a close game and call it like every contact they see. We'll see what East Palestine does going forward. Obviously, a very tough test coming up, but it's home, so they do get to host against Southern Local. We said it again, the storyline of that game is going to be Ashley Schroeds 4 points away from being the all-time leading scorer at Southern Local. Jackson Milton got the win last night, 2 in a row for the Blue Jays, 3rd win of the season. Excuse me. 3rd win of the season, 55-20 is the final score there. McKaylee Thornhill, 16 points for the Blue Jays. And like I said, I like this young Blue Jays team, but if they get that senior in Thornhill to start scoring like that, to add on to the shooters they have on that team, and Husiak and Shorten, and obviously Ysn, if they have their senior step up and put games like that together, watch out for the Blue Jays, man. I think when I talked to their head coach, Jeff Wilson, on Saturday, I was there for her game against Heartland Christian. I asked him what he thought of the game against Springfield, and he said there were things that they really did that well that he thinks could, spell good things in the future. That was obviously a tough time to play a team like Springfield so early in the season for this team. You would have loved to see Springfield towards the end of that first round of the MVAC schedule. It didn't work out that way, but they did some things to frustrate Jamaica Brungard, and they had her in foul trouble a little bit. So Jackson Milton, they're a team like some others that can get a little bit dangerous if you don't give them the respect they deserve. They're a really good rebounding team. That's the thing I saw on Saturday against a Heartland Christian team that had bigger bodies than Rachel Reynolds. Rachel Reynolds was the biggest person on the floor, and it didn't matter. Jackson Milton won that rebounding battle by a ton, and they had a couple of players with double-digit rebounds. So Jackson Milton knows how to get the boards. You give them extra opportunities. Sometimes those shots will fall, and the Blue Jays could be a very dangerous team heading forward. We go to the next game. Lisbon gets their first win of the season. They beat Valley Christian 56-23. Final score, their big game for the Blue Devils in the EOAC. We move on to Ashtabula St. John. Alyssa Severo with a big 27-point performance, 29-point performance, from the Heralds, and they win 60-11 over Matthews. Middle Ridge all over McDonald, 70-34. The final score there. Ava Hewlett had a double-double, and then you had Sullivan Sandy also in double figures, Gianna Gilbert also in double figures, Kelsey Dye also in double figures. I mean, this Middle Ridge team can kind of come at you from different players everywhere. I think, Ava Hewlett, Gianna Gilbert, Lily Marilillo, Sullivan Sandy, and Kelsey Dye, all five of those players have the opportunity to go for double figures every night. When you have five players that have the ability to attack you that way and the ability to score, you are tough to defend. They play good defense too. We're not going to slight the Rams defense, but they're going to be a tough team to stop on the offensive side with the amount of scoring that they're able to do. I think the one thing that, might hold Middle Ridge back, if we're just being real, they don't have the size. They don't have a lot of big size players. So that'll be a storyline when they play Springfield, is like, do they have the people to go up? If you have to double team Jamaica Brungard, the Tigers have the shooters to make you pay for it. So do they have someone that can one-up Jamaica Brungard and take care of her and keep her out of the paint? I don't know. Do they have the scoring to counteract the fact that they don't? Like, do they say, hey, Jamaica Brungard, we're not going to double you to give your shooters wide open. We're going to say we're going to do our best to contain you. If you score 20 points on us, that's great. We'll equalize that with our players, and we'll see where the chips fall. That might honestly be Middle Ridge's answer. They might say, hey, let's try our best to slow her down one-on-one, but let's not give them open threes, because that's obviously a lot harder to give up than just a layup. So if Jamaica Brungard, if she's able to score 20, 25 against our best, just manning up defense, we have the firepower to equalize 25 points on our side. And let's just see how the other players play against each other. I think that might be the Rams game plan with Coach Amy Harrison and the great job she's doing. You don't want. I don't think you want to double too much in the post, because they have the shooters to make you pay. Kerrigan Mullen is starting to shoot really well. Obviously, Mariano Toscano is a deadly 3-point shooter. And then, Ava Vecchione has become a much bigger part of their offense than she was last year. So they have three players just there. They can shoot the three pretty dang well that you don't want to give open looks to by doubling their post, which a lot of teams just have to. And that's what makes Springfield so dangerous. What makes Middle Ridge so dangerous is they have five different players that can all attack you in a little bit different ways. We'll move on. Newton Falls, they fall to LeBray. The Vikings still looking good. 46-33, the final score there. And you'll look at the matchup that they have next. It is LeBray and Champion playing on Thursday. We're going to have that one on ysnlive.com. The way they're playing right now, the winner of that game might have first dibs on trying to take down Crestview. I think the Rebels are the clear favorite in the MVAC grades here right now. They're obviously the reigning champions. going 12-1 last year in the conference. But when you look at it, and it's like, man, LeBray's playing really well. Champion's playing really well. Whoever wins that's going to go into their matchup with Crestview undefeated in the league, probably, as long as they take care of business with the other teams. You got to think the winner of that matchup has that, has that confidence going into that game. It's going to be fun. Poland, the reigning NE8 champs, and they have not lost an NE8 regular season, by the way. They have won every single year. They shared 1 year, but they have never not been the champions of the NE8. They start league play just like they ended last year, winning games on the road this time. 45-28, the final score there. They got 10 points from both Eliana Thompson and Mary Brandt, and then 8 points from Allie Grope. So balance like that is going to be the key to Poland. They don't have to have one player score 25. They have to have 3 or 4 players score 8. And that's going to be the key. If they can consistently get above 40 points, their defense will give them chances to win. They're never going to, like this year, they're not going to be the prolific offense scoring 60 points, 65 points. They just don't have those kind of players right now that are developed and confident in scoring. But they are going to be a team that plays really good defense like they always do. Coach Blanche is always going to put a really good defense on the floor. And they have players that are starting to get a little bit confident outside of Mary Brandt. So if Brandt does her job, gets in the double figures, and they have other players that are scoring, 6, 8, 10 points around her, then Poland has a really good chance to win a lot of games this year. That breaks the losing streak that Poland had, falling to Boardman over the weekend in a tough one. Badger able to take care of Pymatuning Valley. Final score there, 66-41. The Braves do a lot of work against the Lakers. We had Ursuline take down Cheney in a wild one in the Steel Valley Conference, 63-57. Ursuline gets the win. That's the best Ursuline's offense has looked all year. They are able to score a lot last night. They needed it because Cheney definitely a lot of talent. So they needed that offensive performance, and they get it. 63-57. Big win for the Irish in the Steel Valley Conference. Speaking of the Steel Valley Conference, their fellow rivals in Mooney, they had a tough fight on their hands with Warren JFK. Probably the best Mooney had played all season. I think Coach DiOrio would agree and full-heartedly that is the best game Mooney's put together so far this year. It was a very good JFK team. But JFK able to escape 51-48, the final score in that one. Columbiana, they get the win over Wellsville. It is their defense that takes the show, holding the Tigers to just 22 points. Columbiana gets the win, 46-22. We go on to Beaver area. They were able to fall to Elizabethtown, 54-37, the final score there. And then, last but certainly not least, Crestview beats up Campbell Memorial. This is the program record for least opponent shots given up in a single game for Crestview. Their defense was absolutely suffocating to Campbell, and Crestview just takes care of business. Gets in, gets out. Not much to say about a 63-5 kind of game. Just one of those ones where Crestview was the better team, head and shoulders, proved it, and got in, got out, and they'll move on to the next game on their schedule. Crestview, one of the best teams in the area, and when you're a team trying to build positivity in a program, when you have to go up against a Crestview team, things can get ugly pretty quick. But Campbell, I like their coach, I like their work ethic, I like their attitude. I think they're going to be okay. They're just not on Crestview's level yet. There's no shame in not being elite in your first year as head coach, trying to turn a program around. Like, we saw the volleyball team have a couple of games like this where it's like they're winning, but they're just not on that level yet. And I think the basketball team gonna have to just absorb this one, understand that Crestview is Crestview, and in basketball right now they're having one of their best years they've ever had. And just tip the hat and move on to the next game and try to get some wins, try to get some positivity going forward. You can't let 63-5 get in your head if you're Camel. I know it's tough. It's not fun to get beat like that. There's no way they make that fun. There's no way to make that not affect you and not make you lose sleep at night. But you got to be able to watch it. You got to be able to just take it for what it is and try to gain some positivity in the program, because I think this year for Campbell is more about building the future than it is about building this year. I think what they do this year with so many players coming back next year, and hopefully the coach coming back, because I really like the energy that she's bringing to the fold. We had her on Running Point earlier on in our season previews, Coach Cleveley. But I really like what she's bringing to the plate. But you need more than a couple months to build the program, right? So hopefully they can do some things this year, get some results that show the girls that the process is worth buying into. But then it's all about next year, right? Because they are returning a lot. It's all about next year. It's all about building momentum and building the building blocks of building a program. That's what volleyball did, right? 2 years ago, when volleyball won their first tournament game ever under Tyler Allen, they didn't have a great regular season. They went into that United game in the tournament, the underdogs. They got the win. That propelled them to a moderate year a year ago. You know, they were better. They were like 500. And then this year, they had the best season in program history. It just, even Coach Allen, who I love Coach Allen. It took them a couple of years to get it, into their heads that they can win, that they can be a winning team, that they are supposed to go and not hope to win, but expect to win. And I think this Campbell basketball team is well on the way. We've seen other programs, especially on the girls' side, have their turnarounds. Volleyball had it. Softball's having it. They're right in the middle of it. It takes time. So hopefully the girls on the basketball team realize that, and they don't let 63-5 really get in their heads, because I know how easily it can. It can definitely be a tough pill to swallow when you lose like that. But Crestview, they're right now. What can you do? What can you do against that team? No one's doing much against them. No one's doing much. We'll see if that changes throughout the rest of the season. We are going to take a break here on Running Point. When we get back, we have more sports to talk about. Obviously, we're going to go into what games are going on tonight on the network. So be right back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Clint. Hi, this is Steve Rossetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience, WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Nestled here in the beauty and splendor of Mill Creek Metro Parks are two of America's best golf courses, as selected by Golf Week magazine. Ranked number 9 in Ohio by TripAdvisor. Come play like a pro on these award-winning Donald Ross-designed courses. Enjoy a round with your kids and unwind with your favorite food and drinks in the grill room. For championship golf, look no further than your backyard. Mill Creek Golf Course.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You can see them on the top right-hand corner of the screen right there. And they go the extra mile for you so you can do the same, and you don't have to, really, because we're going to go the extra mile for you at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. We went over all the scores and all the action last night, all the big-time players, call them all out. Let's go over the action that's going to be happening tonight on the boys' side as the boys take center stage on a Tuesday. And it is a full slate of games, as you can see. Let's bring up the scoreboard, which is always presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Here's what tonight looks like. Crestview boys hosting Brookfield in the MVAC Great Tier. NE8 play gets started in boys basketball tonight as Hubbard travels to Poland. Poland trying to rebound after their first loss of the year against Boardman on Saturday. Ashtabula St. John travels to Pymatuning Valley, and then Middle Ridge travels to Sebring. We have a big one in the field house as Canton Central Catholic comes to town to try to handle Struthers. Lakeview goes to Niles tonight. Boardman traveling to Youngstown. East Newton Falls going to Liberty tonight. We have Cardinal Mooney going to Howland. That should be a fun one as Mooney trying to bounce back from a couple of tough losses. One at the almost buzzer against Fitch on Friday. We have Austintown Fitch. They're hosting Lindsley tonight. Wyndham, they're in the hangar, home tonight against Chalker. We have Beaver Local. They're at home as well. They go and host Oak Glen, one of those teams that Beaver Local is very familiar with. Cheney and Canfield getting together tonight. That should be a fun one inside Canfield. McDonald and Lowville inside the MVAC Scarlet Tier. We have Camel and Garrettsville Garfield. Camel, of course, trying to bounce back from their loss against Poland. Garfield dropped a heartbreaker at home on Friday against Waterloo, so both teams trying to bounce back from losses. Speaking of Waterloo, they travel to Western Reserve tonight inside the MVAC Scarlet Tier. We have East Palestine going to Latonia. Latonia, big win over Wellsville on Friday. Can they make it 2 in a row? United going to Southern Local. That should be a fun one in the Wigwam. LeBray traveling to Champion, a big one inside the MVAC Gray tier as champion, and Marky Nolan, the upcoming team of the year so far, trying to make some waves against one of the champions last year. That MVAC Gray tier was shared by 3 different teams: Newton Falls, Campbell, and LeBray, all being co-winners of the MVAC Gray tier last year. LeBray coming off that overtime loss to Howland. Wellsville will travel to Columbiana tonight as the Clippers look to get a big win inside the conference. South Range hopes that maybe they don't have to have a thriller tonight. Maybe they can have a little bit of a break from the one-possession games, but who knows? It's always crazy in the Thriller Dome. They're hosting Girard. Archbishop Hoban travels to Warren JFK. Ooh, is this one fun or is this one fun? Hoban, the defending state champions, going up against a JFK team that a lot of people think are going to make some waves in Division 4. Lisbon travels to Valley Christian tonight. You have Jackson Milton going to Springfield. Orange hosting Midview. You have Ursuline going to Warren Harding. And then to round out the schedule for boys basketball, Mohawk, they host Deer Lakes. Got a couple of girls' games tonight in the CVCs. Remember, they will play on Tuesdays and Fridays until January in the CVC. Edgewood girls hosting Lakeside. Jefferson girls hosting Conneaut tonight. So both those teams in action. Now that you have the full schedule, let's go over what games will be on the network and what announcer crews will have you covered. So we go into the schedule. We have a lot of broadcasts tonight. We'll start with girls basketball in Edgewood. We'll have that one covered. Larry Jennings will have you there with that game, and he'll also be joined by an Edgewood student. Boys basketball tonight. Sam Torres and Ray Torado will be on the call for Ashtabula St. John at Pymatuning Valley. You're going to have Warren JFK Archbishop Hoban. That's Dom O'Brien on the call for that one. Youngstown East hosting Boardman. Michael Janaki traveling to Youngstown for that call. Tony Perazio going to be in Crestview for Brookfield coming to town. We have Bob Zanny and Matthew McConaughey, not the actor, unfortunately. They're going to be in Struthers for Canton Central Catholic and Struthers. We have Noah Ricks. He's going to be on the call for Howland and Cardinal Mooney. Should be a fun one for Mr. Ricks. He had overtime on Friday. Can Noah Ricks have 2 straight overtime games? Who knows? Stay tuned. We have Matt Marr and Jordan Barber going to be on the call in Canfield as Cheney goes to town. That should be a really fun one as well. Tim and Dan Figley going to be on the call for East Palestine traveling to Latonia. You have Steve Hodge on the call for Garrettsville Garfield at Camel. DJ Oakley going to be taking care of South Range in the Thriller Dome against Girard as he first trip to South Range since football season for DJ Oakley. I think he's also going to be joined by Tom Titus on the air as well. All right, let's continue with the schedule. After that, we have Poland. The students over there at Poland going to be taking care of Hubbard at Poland, so that one will be on the network. Noah Doty going to Springfield as the Tigers welcome in Jackson Milton. I will be in Champion for LeBray coming to town against the Flashes. Ian O'Brien was going to be taking care of Niles, hosting Lakeview. Ty Bartell going to be in Austintown Fitch. Rick Daly will be at Valley Christian as Lisbon travels to Youngstown for that one. Eric Hughes going to be in Lowville. McDonald comes to town. Gary Burton and Scott Rogers going to be in Beaver Local for that one against Oak Glen. Chris Sigler making the trip to Southern to follow United down there. He was also there yesterday. So the Southern boys trying to make it 2-for-2 against United. The Eagles trying to have other options there. Joe Sebio going to be on the call for Columbiana against Wellsville on tonight. We'll have the Wyndham YouTube page will be live for their game against Chalker. And then last but not least, the Orange School will be taking care of their game against Midview. All those games can, of course, be found on ysnlive.com/live. While we have the screen up, let me just show you how you would do it if you're a first-time peruser of our site. You're on the scores page. Let's just say you go to ysnlive.com and you're here and you don't know how to go from here. You see at the top, you see the screen, you have live games. You would click on that. And then you'll scroll down. This one will be updated later on today. So right now it's still on yesterday's games. But when you click on it later on before the games, all the games that we have on the network that night will be on this. You just click on one. So we click on this one. Doesn't matter. It'll take you to this website where you can watch it. You go down, you scroll past the advertisements, hit the play button, watch one commercial, and then you'll be good to go. Something that some people have been tripped up with. The page it takes you to will be the page of the home team. So like that one, I just clicked on East Palestine versus Latonia. But if you're going to watch East Palestine, don't worry about it not being East Palestine's page, of course. You can also watch it on East Palestine's page if you're old school and want to do that. It will be simulcast on East Palestine's YSN page. But the live games page is going to take you to the home team. So don't let that trip you up. Got a bunch of games on the network tonight. Should be a fun one. Tomorrow's going to be a fun show on Running Point as we pop off the scoreboard. Tomorrow's going to be a fun show. You don't want to miss it. Episode 3 of Wrestling Wednesdays with Gary Altizer. And we're going to have our first guest of the year. Coming on with us for Wrestling Wednesday is going to be from Howland. And it is Adam Heckman from Howland. He is highly ranked right now, number 3 in the YSN rankings, wrestling rankings that we're putting together this year. So you don't want to miss Adam coming on the show with us tomorrow, 1 o'clock on the dot. Me, Gary Altizer, Scotty Mincher will all have you covered with that interview and that episode for Wrestling Wednesday. And then also Gary will recap the week that was in wrestling. We had a couple of duels, a couple of tournaments go down on Saturday. So we'll recap all that with Gary as well. And it should be a very fun Wednesday. So don't miss it. Tomorrow on Running Point, 1 to 2, Wrestling Wednesday with Gary Altizer. Special guest Adam Heckman. You don't want to miss it from Howland. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This has been Running Point.